3, 2, 1.
So this morning I want to start with the lyrics of Faith Rivera's song, Rise Up. And she says, I close my eyes, I open my heart, I take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in, I feel the beat. That's calling, calling, calling us to rise spirit. To rise spirit in me and you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, to have spirit with you. When we're faced with challenges of our old ways, and we all have old ways, we all have old stories, we all have old thinking habits, even feeling, reacting, or being habits. When those show up, or like, last Friday was Yom Kippur, the High Holy Way, the Jewish High Holy Day, that was Friday. And when things like that, when holidays or celebrations show up like that, it's a calling for us. It's a calling for us to forgive those old stories, to move on to something new, whatever that new is. And we get to decide because we have choice what that new will be. Or if life feels a little uncertain, or our footing seems to be somewhat unstable, that's the time. And right now, it's the time to push past our comfort zone. We all have comfort zones, and we will all have new comfort zones. It's pretty much never ending, but the great thing about it is on the other side of the comfort zone is that new story, that new journey, that new adventure, that new wonderful thing that comes into your life. See, there are universal truths that we can lean on, that we can lean into to deepen our understanding of life and help us find our footing and new handholds if we must have them to push past those comfort zones and bust through and soar and zoom, like we always say, to our next adventure. But what are those universal truths? Sometimes we need to be reminded of those universal truths. But first, I want to remind you of what I talked about last week, if you weren't here. I was talking about some LY words, like typically, normally, usually. They're powerful words, actually, that can be used either as an excuse. Well, typically I do this, so I'm not going to do that, even though that is a better way. Or they can be used as a word, an empowering word to match, to light that match, to put that match to the fire in your belly, whatever the new fire in your belly is. Typically, I don't do this because I'm going to do that now. So you can use those words that way, either way. But I have found that the most powerful LY word of all is faithfully. Faithfully, like declare, is a word of decisiveness and conviction. You can't be faithful to something or somebody unless you have conviction, unless you've made a declaration, a vow, a pledge, all rolled up into what becomes a belief in your life. This is my belief, this is a value of mine, and so that's the way it's going to be, because I have faith in that idea. This faith is self-made, it's self-regulated, it's self-induced, it's self-powered, but it's always backed by the universe, because the more faith you have, the more the universe brings that matches that faith. It's the most powerful action, really, that we can take in mind and body, is having faith in some idea, some person, and of course, especially in ourselves, which then connects us to the divine, because that's what we are. We're connected to the divine. We reveal the divinity all day, every day. Having faith creates that perspective, that perception, that conviction, and thus the approach we have to everything in our lives. Faith illuminates any darkness into light. It helps us see everything as good, that everything that is good is God in action. And good doesn't necessarily mean good times, meaning positive times, but good information, good education, good support, even sometimes good confirmation of what not to do. The act of faith brings to us. In the book How to Use the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Do we have enough conviction to turn away from negative conditions and mentally contemplate their opposites? Can we turn away from poverty and accept abundance? Can we turn away from illness and believe in health? Can we separate ourselves from unhappiness and accept happiness? Can we quiet all discord long enough to contemplate harmony? And do we have the courage to proceed based on this?" He's talking about faith. He's talking about living faithfully. Now, before we go any further, I want to define faith. Because faith has this whole religious thing, and faith doesn't have to be a religious thing. It's not necessarily religious. It's not even necessarily spiritual. The word faith comes from the Greek word pistevo, which means believe. So it's a belief. Faith is a belief. What is your belief? This person can't tell you what to believe. I can't tell you what to believe. Only you can tell you and live what you believe. Only you can decide what you have faith in. And what do we teach? We teach it is our belief in the universal law of cause and effect, and our conviction, also a belief, in the idea of what we want is going to manifest in our experience. We believe in that idea. We have faith in that idea. We have faith in ourselves to use the law of cause and effect because the universe has our back to bring that into our experience. I believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause. That's a belief. That's something we have faith in. It doesn't matter if you find it or use it through prayer or meditation or contemplation or using affirmations of some time or other affirmative incantations or any self-talk you have. If you don't like to do that stuff that seems too religious or too spiritual, that self-talk that you have with yourself when you're writing down your goals, when you're writing in your journal, when you're contemplating life. Whoever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, however you want to call that power and presence that is in the universe and thus is all around us and within us. When we reach this higher level of consciousness, and we step into that when we do our guided meditation here every week, when we recognize that the power within us is a power to decide, is a power to intend, is a power to believe and declare. And sometimes it's hard, I get it. And sometimes we have to dig deep and work hard, I get it. But we must engage. We must engage if we want to move forward. We must engage in our use of creative power to navigate all these challenges that are around us, all these conditions that show up, all these thoughts, feelings, or beliefs, especially the old ones that don't work for us, if they ever did in the first place, and convert them into the new ones that define the experience we desire to have. But first we have to figure out what those are. We know we have the faith that the universe is behind us, that backs us. But we have to sit and decide what it is we want the universe that we have faith in to back us. We're equipped with the finest mental art there is, and that is living faithfully. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of ways to live faithfully. And one way, of course, when we are feeling out of faith, out of belief, off kilter a little bit, one way is breath. I talked about this before, breath. Breath is a big thing, pranayama, as they say in Hindu. Mark Nepo wrote this about breath. Breathing is the fundamental unit of risk the atom of inner courage that leads us into authentic living. Love that. With each breath, we practice opening, taking in, and releasing. Literally, the teacher is under our nose. When anxious, we simply have to remember to breathe. Now, breath, it's not some woo-woo thing, man. Yale University did a big study with a bunch of students, and they participated in a yoga and breath work program. It wasn't just yoga, but there was breath work with that. And the report of this Yale University study showed improvements in stress, depression, positivity, mindfulness, and social connectedness. People started connecting again to themselves, to each other, and as you connect to each other in a true way, you're also connecting to the universe, you're connecting to God, to spirit, whatever you want to call it. Now here's just a few quickie breath methods, and we do this before our guided meditation, of course. Before there's the 4-7-8 method, where you close your lips and inhale through your nose for a count of 4, similar to what we do. Hold your breath for a count of 7. I only do 4. And exhale completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound for a count of 8, which we pretty much do. There's the alternate nostril breathing you can do. There's the holotropic breath work. Now this is interesting. It was created by a transpersonal Czech psychiatrist. There are 2 of them, a married couple, I believe. Stanislav and Kristina Grof is their name, and it's practiced with a qualified practitioner to the rhythm of primal music. And you might be able to find a practitioner of holotropic breath work near you. And they do it with primal music. It gets very primal, and you breathe very rapidly for up to a couple hours, and all kinds of things are accessed through there, especially higher states of consciousness and a connection with the soul. There's shamanic breath work, which was developed by it's ancient, but it was developed in a modern sense in the 90s by Linda Starr Wolf, who's a modern shaman. And there's a lot of smudging going on. I don't know if you've ever done smudging and chanting and setting of intentions, and there's rhythmic breathing to primal music as practitioners, or her maybe, if you find Linda Starr Wolf and go to one of her retreats, where there's chakra healing, and you get in contact with your animals, spirits, and guides, and it's a beautiful, beautiful ceremony if you find that. Something that's very popular right now in breath work is Wim Hof. Has been popular, but it has made another resurgence. Wim Hof is very intense breath work. When you work with him, you get exposure to cold, and you actually get into some hyperventilation type meditation. But basically, the breakdown is that you take 30 power breaths, and then after that, take a deep inhale and retain that breath for as long as it's comfortable. Then exhale, and then you take another deep breath for about 10 to 15 seconds, hold it for a little bit, and then exhale, and then you repeat this process for a few more rounds. That's something you can do at home without getting into the hyperventilation situation. That breath work, I've done it, and I do it, and it's actually very powerful. But breath work, one of those things, is one of those things that opens us up to our faith, because it centers us, it grounds us, it gives us kind of a start over, in a way, even in the middle of the day, if you must. And of course, another way and a big way to reestablish your faith or strengthen your faith is through practicing the presence, which is what we do every week, which is what I pretty much talk about in one way or another every week, using prayer or meditation or any kind of mind-body modality, alignment modality, to bring forth, to reveal that consciousness, to reveal that divinity, reminding ourselves of the principles of oneness, principles of love, divine love, principles of gratitude and appreciation for not only what we have, but what we're bringing into our lives because of our choice. And of course, celebrating creation, celebrating that beautiful pool, these beautiful trees, those mountains in the background. We become aware in those moments. We awaken to in those moments. We experience that one infinite reality. And you can call it what you want. You cannot call it anything. But there is this power in the universe. Everything is made of energy. And even if you aren't spiritual or religious or anything, or you do realize scientifically that everything is energy and everything is connected. Science tells us that, not religion, not spirituality. And of course, as we reveal this divinity, or whatever you want to call it, we share it, we express it with the joy of our gratitude of life, our appreciation of life, of the good that we have already received. And as we share it, we inspire others, maybe unknowingly. They don't have to put that faith word to use the concept of faith, to be in faith, to live faithfully, or knocking at the universe's door for more light and greater spiritual wisdom. I have another quote here from Lao Tzu that I want to read to you. He said, "There's no need to run outside for better seeing, nor to peer from a window. Rather, abide at the center of your being, for the more you leave it, the less you learn. Search your heart and see if it is wise, and find the wisdom in those who take each turn. The way to do that is to be, is to just be. Not being still in that you're not doing anything, but just be, just allow, like we do in the guided meditation sometimes. I don't speak, and in those moments you're just allowing, you're just opening up, and faith is part of that opening up. Now, I know the roads to wherever you're going, the roads to your journey, your adventure, aren't always smooth. I get it. Mine aren't always smooth either. They could be windy, they could be bumpy, they could be full of potholes and pain, trauma sometimes, unfortunately. But always remember, even in the thick of it, in the thick of the, at least seemingly, negativity of it, that we're also surrounded by fabulous trees, flowers, majestic mountains like behind me, and beautiful and fascinating landscape and people and different, unique, inspirational books and words and people. Music, faith in music and what it teaches you and what it invokes in you. If you look, you'll find it is a good time right now, and tomorrow, and the next day, to use those tools you have. You don't have to have all the tools, all the quote-unquote tools that I teach or that you might read about or hear about. You don't have to be a master of all those. What you need to be a master of is faith. Faith in your decisions, faith in the power that you have. And it's okay if junk's going on in your life, vent it out, talk about it, get it out of your system so you can move forward. Complain, get angry, have a pity party if you want. That's okay, do that for a couple of minutes. Why not? Remove it. That is faith in yourself, to use your ability to remove that initial yuckiness that's getting in your way. You can get all fancy with the words, but basically it's yuckiness that's in your way. But as you vent, not venting to get attention, but to release. You're using your tool of. So remember that the road, like you drive on the road, to your mind is always changing. So practicing the presence from this thing called do you want to read your faith can penetrate the clouds of unbelief and reveal the truth that is always perfect. Your words do not create this truth, but only reveal it. Yeah. Your thought operating through the law of life can satisfy your need. Turn fear into faith, loss into gain, failure into success. Act as if you've already had opinion over XYZ. Yeah, that's powerful. Acting as if. I know that becomes some sort of woo-woo thing, but acting as if is very powerful because it's a step. It's a step towards. It's using your power of faith as a step towards what it is you want. So one more bit of Faith Rivera, and then we'll wind this up. But listen to this. She said, I ready my soul. I clear my mind. I'm here and now in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. We are one. We're one with infinite reality, called by many names. It is a power. It is undivided. It is complete and whole in itself already. This energetic force that is there creates everything out of itself. Everything we desire, it creates out of itself, out of that power. It's part of the 3D world. It's part of the higher level of dimensions, whatever you want to call those. It is in the tangible. It's in the untangible. It's in the infinite opportunities that are there. It's in the physical. It's in the metaphysical. This power, this presence gives us the ability to seemingly bend reality. Let's acknowledge that divine order regardless of the conditions. Let us know when we judge our roads as rocky, we look for the lesson and then make ice cream. Take a look at that. And while you take a look at that, let me tell you that the future is bright with promise. I promise you. You don't have to like what's going on, just love it so you can move on beyond it. So you can move past it towards your future, towards the future you want. And understand that those things are just continuations of the one unbroken chain of life. The faith in who you are and the power within you. There is no future to be afraid of and no past to have discord to be in your present. With faith of who you are and the power within you, you are in with the whole. You are in with the universe, expanding with it, expanding your life, expanding your ideas, expanding your wisdom, and expressing that unconscious cooperation with the whole, the universal power that I talk about all the time. With faith in who you are and the power within you, you are an ever-expanding principle of conscious intelligence. And just like the universe, you are truly birthless, deathless, changeless. As they say, God as man, in man, is man. God as not even person, because I believe God is in this plastic that made this phone that I'm speaking in front of. God as human, animal, and mineral. In human, animal, and mineral is all. The highest God and the innermost God or divine spirit, whatever you want to call it, is one and the same God. That is you. You are that power. Yeah, I know that sounds a little... You are that power. So let us know together right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let it out. And know this with me. In this moment, I affirm and remain firm for each and every one of us in this conviction that our lives are a part of the divine intelligence. And this intelligence is incarnate within each and every one of us. And so we can have faith without compromise. We can have faith without compromise. Faith in the masterpiece that is you, the masterpiece that is me, no matter the conditions you see, the noise around you, or anything you feel now. Faith in the universal power that breathes inside each of us, enlightening and boosting intuition, imagination, in the skills of manifestation, faith in the pliability of the brain, the sovereignty of the mind, faith in our ability to move our mind, illuminate our heart, and follow our true instincts. Say this with me. I allow, I accept, I receive, I live, I share soothing, healing love. I have faith, I think with faith, I live with faith. And so I am a master of faith, here and now. And so it is. One more quote from Joel Goldsmith, because he wrote a book called Practicing Presence, and I want to leave you with this. It is possible for anyone to change the trend in his life, not by hearing or reading truth, but by making it an active part of consciousness and daily experience, until it becomes a habit every moment of the day, instead of an occasional thought, or the result, I should say, of an occasional talk. Keep the faith, my friends, with no compromise. Thank you so much. Namaste.